Welcome back to the Resilient Stars program. We are on lecture 3, letting go mentally. Letting go mentally. Okay. Our lecture objectives. We're going to define letting go mentally, the significance of letting go mentally, identifying the types of negative things children hold on to mentally, assessing the role of unhelpful thinking styles by Dr. David Burns, as well as a discussion finding another way. Let's start with our operational definition of letting go mentally. Letting go means being willing to allow life to carry you to a new place, even a deeper, more true rendition of self. Significance of letting go mentally. Dr. David Burns purports, you feel the way you think, and that's Burns 1993. Dr. Daniel Goleman states the emotional mind can sabotage the logical mind. Goleman 2005. Children who get stuck in the tidal wave of emotional distress often get placed in the proverbial back row. Robinson 2012. This correlates with lower academic performance, poorer decision making skills, and poorer long term health outcomes, ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences Scale or Score. Identifying the types of negative things that children hold on to. I want you to think and go back to when you were children about the types of things that you held on to, perhaps up to today, that still, could negatively impact you on a bad day, right? Broken promises, sure. Hurt words spoken, sure. Divorce of parents, lack of attention, lack of emotional support, favoritism in the family, being made the family scapegoat, right? Being identified as the black sheep, perhaps, or the person who has the problems. Okay, and those aren't very favorable things, and they start to root something called core beliefs, right? And that's a term from cognitive behavioral therapy, core beliefs, right? And these core beliefs, I'm not good enough. Why didn't they keep up their promise? Is it because I'm not good enough? Is something's wrong with me? Right. And that's really what we are trying to reconstruct when we meet children, or we have our children, and we have to be aware of these things to help them. Okay, and we're going to now look at the role of unhelpful thinking styles. And this was created by Dr. David Burns, well known psychiatrist, psychologist. He's written several books, including the 10 Days to Great Self Esteem. And he says that there are 10 unhelpful thinking styles, all or nothing thinking, overgeneralization, mental filter, discounting the positives, jumping to conclusions, including mind reading or fortune telling, expecting the worst, right? Magnification or minimization, magnifying other people's characteristics, minimizing our own. Emotional reasoning, reasoning from where we are, if we feel from where what we feel. So if we are feeling sad and we're feeling lonely, we may conclude that we don't have friends, when that is not the case. And when we feel in a better mood, we would acknowledge that we do have friends in our lives. Should statements, putting a lot of pressure on ourselves with should or must statements. Labeling, right? Calling ourselves stupid, dumb, not good enough, worthless, right? Or labeling others, as well as blame. When we blame others or we blame ourselves without really seeing the role of either ourselves when we blame others in whatever happened, or the role that others may have played when we are blaming ourselves. right? So the all or nothing thinking, for us to have children understand that that would be like a child who believes that nothing but 90s to 100 would be good enough. Nothing is better than that. Nothing is good and nothing is good about grades that might be, for example, an 85. And if they get an 85, they want to sulk and cry and get really upset. And what we want to do is to help children see, well, an 85 may not be what your ideal score is, but it is a good score. And it's an opportunity to see how can I improve next time, right? Overgeneralizing is saying this is always happening to me, using words like that, like this is always happening to me. They're playing a game. One of the games that they told me, it's Among Us. It's called Among Us, and they say, I didn't play. I lost at a particular level, and the child says, I'm always losing at this level, right? But it's not that they're always losing. I'm just getting new to the game, or I have to become better. I could practice, or I could ask somebody for help, right? Mental filter is just focusing on the negatives and ignoring the positives. Whereas discounting the positives is sort of not giving yourself very much credit. Someone says, oh, you're a very beautiful person. And immediately you have an excuse. Oh, no, no, no. That's just how my parents raised me, right? It's nothing. Okay. And that brings us to the unhelpful thinking styles. Next, we have the activity or your discussion, finding another way. So I'd like for you to write down one unhelpful thought, right? Or thinking style, for example, black or white thinking or fortune telling. Give an example of when you experience using that thought, right? So I sometimes think I'm going to fail my test, and sometimes I don't. Ask yourself, how do I feel about that thought that I sometimes, I do my test, but I'm feeling like I might fail, right? So the feeling is nervous. What do you do when you feel that way? And this is actually a child's response, by the way. She said, I cover my face, right? Write a more helpful way to think about your situation. A more helpful way would be I tried my best. 70 to 80% of the time, I passed with a 75 to 100% in my tests. Now, how do you feel? I feel more calm because I have a pretty good track record of doing well in my tests. Now, what do you feel like doing? I feel like relaxing, right? So it's helping the child to work through, right? Work through those feelings from nervousness to relaxing and saying this is going to be okay, minimizing that self-doubt. Okay, in conclusion, we defined letting go mentally, the significance of letting go mentally. We identified the types of negative things children hold on to mentally. We assessed the role of unhelpful thinking styles, and we have a discussion finding another way. I look forward to your assignments of just doing the assignment for 1 week to process a situation and to see how you may have been thinking of it in an unhelpful way and finding another way of doing so. Looking forward to seeing you soon again for our fourth lecture, letting go physically.